Okay, so here we go. At first, we're gonna create a project named or called Flight Simulator. Here it is. In my project, I'm going to use Writer, but you can choose Visual Studio if you want. Also, from here, it's recommended to have the git ignore updated and prepared to a Real Engine 5 repository, Okay, you create the repository with the project inside, with all the changes you want to make. Okay, and in my case, it's only one branch in main because I'm working on this alone. Also, we can have this. It's an application named Miro that it's so comfortable to use if you are a programmer making your own projects or even with some groups because it gives you the opportunity to make some diagrams for the architecture of the classes and it's so comfortable. As first, I'm going to explain the project. I only wanted to make an airplane selector with some scenes or levels that are the airplane selector where you can choose some airplanes, the proper scene or main scene of gameplay. You have the airplane and you have the different scenario and the pause menu where you can resume with the same airplane or back to selector to change it. It was a simple thing and I made all of this, the main mechanics and everything in 2-3 days and another 2 days for rendering, trying, testing and making the build. So I would say 5 days. Yeah. It was like a sort of game jam and it was so fun to make. I'm going to explain really fast. So here in the airplane selector in this first scene, we have a game mode. Okay, this game mode is going to have its player controller. And the player controller is going to have the input of this scene, airplane selector, and also the main widget, the airplane selector widget. Okay, also we're going to have the different airplanes where we can choose from, you will see later, some paper airplanes, some different big or small airplanes, etc. And here are the meshes we're going to do. So everything is organized. Okay, also we have the static camera. Two things of this, we have the opportunity to have this view. Okay, in this project I'm also been working with a type of camera that are the cinematic cameras and I've been working with them. So how do we connect this with the next level? In the next level we have to know what airplane we have chosen. Okay, so from here we're going to have of course the flight game instance. This class is not going to be deleted in all the game. So this gives us the opportunity to store here some values. In this case, in the game instance, we store a value that is going to be the selected airplane. So from here, in the new scene or level called gameplay, we're going to have another game mode or gameplay. So we ask, the game mode ask what to the game instance. The thing that we want to know is that what is the selected airplane. So this game mode is also going to have a player controller and that's it. And thanks to this, we have the selected airplane. Also, we have the main class of the game that is going to be the flyer base, where from here is going to be the gameplay mechanics of the flight simulator to fly and to rotate on the 3 axes, on the X, Y, and Z, the pitch, roll, and here we have the blueprints. The blueprint for airplane 1, airplane 2, very small airplane, bird, and paper airplane. All of these are from the same class, the BP Flyer base, but it has a common parent. You will see in the project. And at last, we have the pause menu. It's going to be a separate widget where we can press it. If you press P, it's going to appear, and it gives you the opportunity to resume or go back to selector. Okay, and it has the widget pause menu selector widget. And that's it. This is the main organization of the project. Okay, so let's start talking about the project. More technical things. The first thing is that it's a simulation blank project. Okay, in C++. That's it. Okay, the next thing is to choose the airplanes to download it. First, this is a type of small airplane, as you can see, and this one is in the project. Also, some types of airplanes as you want. Okay, it's important to see if it's on the info, how many vertices, and if it's a really heavy textures and materials and the mesh. It's really heavy or not. Okay. Also some types of airplanes, big ones. Another one, this is in the project. These ones could be cool, but I didn't have enough time. And this one is also on the project. Okay. I also added a really cool paper airplane because I thought it was funny, so why not? And at last, some flying bird. And another example can be this one. This one's not on the project, but I have another one that is really cool too. Mine is more realistic. So you download everything and you just go to Blender. Okay, so the next thing with the FBX elements is to go to Blender. Once you are in Blender, you take, for example, this asset that is an airplane, and the next thing you will do is to make all these meshes into just one, and the most part of the vertices Okay, so next thing is to import all the assets we have created. We go to our Rider project, that is the flight simulator we started, and here we go. We start with Unreal Engine 5, okay? So we make some folders to have everything organized. The first thing is to go to Assets, and here you have Airplane 1, you have the static mesh, we're going to open it. Here it is. Wait, because it has a lot of vertices. And apart from this, the airplane, you have here all the materials. Okay, so also we can have airplane 2. This one is smaller, and you only have 10, 12 materials. You recognize them? Yeah. Okay. Also, you can have some materials and the model of our bird. That is this one. Okay. So we have all the assets right here. Also the static mesh of the paper airplane. And at last the small airplane. Okay, so now that we have this done, let's go with another simple thing of the bird. The bird is a special one because it has an animation, okay? So this is important because on the bird, we're going to need something to put this animation. Okay, so we're going to create the blueprints and I'm going to explain you everything. So at first, let's go to the theory and let's check out what do we have. Okay, we're going to have blueprint static mesh. That is going to be general for all the type of airplanes. And from this parent, we're going to have some tiles like the blueprint static mesh airplane 1, blueprint static mesh airplane 2, the static mesh bird, the blueprint static mesh paper airplane, and the blueprint static mesh small airplane. Okay, that's perfect. So let's check it out. We don't have to forget that at first we're going to talk about the airplane selector. So let's talk about how we can put the different meshes and to make everything work. Okay, so for the airplane selector, we have on blueprints another folder that is airplane selector. Here we're going to have a blueprint static mesh base. Okay, this blueprint static mesh base is going to be a really simple one. Let's wait till it's open. Let's close the things we don't use. Okay, so it's just a simple static mesh. Why do we use them? Because from here, we can make the inheritance of the rest of the blueprint. So we go here and we create the tile blueprint class. So, and we create the blueprint. We create the blueprint static mesh airplane 1, 2, static mesh bird, the static mesh paper airplane, and the static mesh small airplane. Why do we do this? Just to create the airplane selector. So we go here, we have the first airplane mesh with a lot of less vertices and polygons, so it's optimized. The static mesh airplane 2, here it is. The static mesh bird, this one is a special one because it has an animation, so we have added a skeletal mesh component and we have added this skeletal mesh asset called Robin Bird. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, the static mesh paper airplane and the static mesh small plane with some cool materials, of course. Okay, so this is the first part. Okay, so now let's talk more specifically about the airplane selector. Okay, in this scene, as you can see, we have a little things. We have the camera. Okay, it's a normal blueprint that it's camera normal. So it is on blueprint, static camera normal, and static camera. So we're using this one. This specific blueprint is a normal camera, but we have another variation with the cinematic camera. Okay, so we change some parameters here, and we have deleted the ground, and we are using the proper sky of Unreal Engine 5 because it kind of looked like for a flight simulator, so I thought it would be cool. Okay, also we have the blueprint audio manager selector. We will talk about this later, and we also have on wall settings a game mode. It's going to be the blueprint airplane selector game mode. That this comes from the flight simulator game mode. Okay, and it has some parameters. The default point class is going to be the blueprint camera normal. So this one. The player controller class is going to be the blueprint selector player controller. And so let's open this, the airplane selector. Okay, and the proper game mode and the player controller. Okay, so between these two, the game mode with all of these and the player controller, we're going to have all the functionality. It's important to know that this project has been made in 5 days, so I don't have everything as organized as I would want in hierarchy and in classes. So the player controller that only would control the input in a normal project here also controls another things like the widgets, for example, or some dictionary with some airplanes. Okay, so let's explain this. Here we have on the player controller that is set as default on the game mode. Just right here, the selector player controller. We have the input that we're going to use, the input mapping context, the EMC selector, with the enter right choice, left choice, and all you want, but it's really with the click of the mouse. This is just optional. And also here with the inputs, right choice, left choice. And here there are some airplane maps. What is this? We have a dictionary of a string and blueprints, actors, okay, that has for each name, in this case the first airplane, the Boeing 747, associated with a static mesh, the blueprint static mesh. So each one has a blueprint. Okay, why do we have this? Okay, because we need to store this information, okay, to select which airplane do we want. So we have the current airplane name that is going to be the bird as default, and of course the widget, okay, that is going to be the widget blueprint airplane selector. Perfect. So this is going to be the widget blueprint airplane selector. It's not the most beautiful thing, but it makes it worthy the game. So it's cool. You know, airplane selector, next button, previous button, and play. We haven't created this just like this. This widget blueprint airplane, it comes from the parent class airplane selector widget. Okay, so we're going to check out the classes. So we are going to use these three right now. That is the flight simulator game mode base that is associated with the selector. Okay, as we can see, we have a T map that is the airplane map, and we also have the selected airplane class. Okay, so from here we're going to add some functionality when we choose an airplane. Also, we have the pawn static camera, just to create a camera with the cinematic camera, spring arm component, and the scene component as a root, and of course the plane selector. Okay, let's start with the plane selector. Okay, we have all the input things, the team map selector airplane map, the current airplane map. Okay, we had some input methods, so change airplane right choice, left choice, enter level gameplay, and spawn current airplane. And what we're going to do is that we're going to connect this player controller with the widget. So here we're going to create the widget, and we're going to start creating the initial airplane, okay, spawning it. So this is all the components and all the methods to create the spawning character selector, okay. Enter level gameplay, spawn current airplane, and of course the setup. so this can work. Okay, so we add and link each action with one method. Enter level gameplay, change airplane right choice, and change airplane left choice. So let's see how this looks. So by default, it has to appear this widget blueprint airplane selector with some meshes. Okay, so let's start. Okay, you now have seen it. Another important thing, of course, is the class of the widget. So we go to Airplane Selector widget, and here it is. Everything created with C++. The configure margin, the initialize buttons, button hover, and hover, the each function to work, like option method, let option, and play. Okay, audio manager, we will talk about this later. Text buttons and buttons. And that's it for this part. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the main class that is the most important thing of the project because it's a flight simulator, you know? That is the flyer base. This flyer base specifically are going to talk about the horizontal rotation and vertical rotation, okay? With or taking care of the three axes, the pitch axis, roll axis, and yaw axis. And of course, each rotation. Okay, so let's go to flyer base. At first, let's go to the .h. Here we have the constructor and some properties. So from here, we're going to have a parent or father blueprint, and we're going to make all the tiles. Okay, so we have all the tiles, and I'm going to show you right now just to understand. So these properties give us the opportunity to change all the parameters and all the characteristics for each airplane. So each airplane is different. There will be some that will be faster and other ones that will be slower. For example, the paper airplane is the fastest of all the game, and the bird is the slowest. Okay, also we have a reference for the gameplay controller. We'll talk about this later. Another method that is the calculate height from ground. So when we touch the ground, we're just going to stop. So we won't have any velocity or speed. We have another thing like minimum height to reduce speed, and of course the properties to construct the blueprint flyer base. That is the main blueprint used to create all the airplanes. So we are going to have a spring arm, a camera, a root, and a flyer maze. And here we have the methods with the functionality. The handle roll axis is going to be the horizontal inclination. So just for you to know, the roll axis is going to be the horizontal, you know, as you can see in the picture. Also, we're going to handle the pitch axis, that is going to be the vertical inclination. So pitch, this inclination, okay. And we're going to calculate the yaw effect, that is the third rotation, that is the most difficult one in my opinion, based on horizontal inclination. Okay, so we also calculate the acceleration forward, acceleration side, calculate the speed. So for the speed, we're going to have two speeds and two accelerations: the forward speed and the forward acceleration, and the side acceleration and lateral speed. Okay, some debugging to make. So when I was programming, now it's finished. And at last, how to apply the movement. Okay, some getters, the input mapping context, of course, the input actions, turn, lookup, and pause menu, and some generic methods, okay? The tick, the setup player input, and the toggle pause menu. So let's go to the CPP. Here on the constructor, we're going to make everything. At first, we're going to configure the capsule component. Okay, we're going to create the static mesh component, the spring arm, and attach it to the capsule component, of course, because it's the main root. And we're going to create the camera and attach it to the spring arm. Okay. This method calculates height from ground. We just right cast to the down, so we can know when we are near the ground to stop the speed of the airplane. We handle the horizontal inclination. Okay, the first thing I'm going to show you is the setup player input. Okay, the setup player input, we're going to bind some actions. So the AI turn, that is going to be the A or D button, the A or D keyboard. We're going to make the handle roll horizontal inclination. Okay, also when I press W or S, it's going to be the vertical inclination. And at last, if I press P, so it's going to be the toggle pause menu. So let's go to handle roll axis horizontal inclination. Okay, so here we get the value and we add it to the roll input. Okay, the same with the vertical inclination, pressing W or S to the pitch input. We calculate the yaw input knowing the horizontal inclination. Okay, so we make the roll input per yaw scaling factor. That is another parameter that we can change in each airplane. We calculate the acceleration forward with this formula, the acceleration side, the front speed with the variable forward speed, the side speed, and we apply the movement. Okay, with the forward speed and side speed. Where I here in this project, I'm not using physics to make this, I am using translations. Okay, it's important to know this. Some getters, the gameplay controller to have it initialized, and of course the tick. Here I calculate everything: the roll input, the pitch input, the yaw effect, current acceleration forward, current acceleration side, calculate front speed, calculate lateral speed, the apply movement, and everything. If someone is making a flight simulator wants this script or class, I'm going to share it just on my GitHub. So I will share it at the end of the video. You can check it out. So I hope it's useful because it was super difficult for me to do this in no time because I didn't have experience making this type of flight simulator, and all the rotations were a little dizzy. So everything's clean code and everything's perfect. So if you want it, just check it out on the GitHub. So let's go to Unreal. Here in Unreal, we have the blueprint flyer base. Okay, here this is the parent or the father blueprint. Okay, so from here, the blueprint flyer base, we're going to create some tile blueprint classes are going to be all of these ones. So if we check out the flyer base, all of the components or properties are in the category flight. So if we go here and put flight, you can check that each airplane has different properties. Okay, so this is very modular and helpful because with just one class, we have created 5 types of airplanes. Okay, let's start with the blueprint flyer airplane. We have put it the camera where it was comfortable to use it. Okay, we also have put it the mesh and the acceleration, the max speed that it's 4,000, minimum speed, some roll rate multiplayers, yaw scaling factor, and more things. This one, for example, as you can see, it has more acceleration, so it's faster, it has more max speed, and it can roll, it can turn in a faster way because it's lighter, and this is a heavier airplane. Okay, also the Firebird, as you can see with the animation, this one is a special one thanks of the animation. So we have done some things. Here on the character mesh, we have put it the skeletal mesh asset, the Robin Bird, and we needed an anim class. So we have created an animation blueprint that is called animation blueprint bird. It's nothing really, like it's really only an animation with loop. So that's it. It's really easy, this thing. And let's go with the flyer paper airplane. Okay, with some characteristics, as you can see, this one is the fastest, and when you play it, you're going to check it out. It's amazing how it goes. And the smaller plane, this one is so cool too because it has a lot of capacity to turn, and that makes it really useful. Okay, and that's it. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about, I don't want to take this video too long, but there is another important thing about my camera. So, as you can see, there are here some things as they use palm control rotation and camera settings that you have to take and make it like, I don't know, maybe waste half an hour and trying everything so everything is correct. And also, if you put this enable camera lag, it will make a really cool effect of the camera following the airplane. Okay, so just do it because it's a lot more realistic and it's a huge difference on a flight simulator. Okay, so let's go with the next thing. Let's go with the next level. I don't want you to see this, it's a surprise. That is the gameplay, okay, the Cesium gameplay. As we can see here on the gameplay, we just want to have the airplane flying and the map. Okay, but there are some classes. We have talked about the flyer base, but the first thing is talking about the blueprint, the game mode gameplay. Why? Okay, this game mode gameplay, the first thing we are going to do is to ask the flight game instance what airplane we have chosen. Okay, so let's go with that. As you can see here in the world setting, we have the game mode override, the game mode gameplay, and here on the game mode gameplay, we have everything. The air maps, so we can choose it. Okay, So let's close all of this because we're not gonna use it. Okay, apart from this, we have the player controller, that is the blueprint gameplay player controller. And here we're going to have another reference to the pause menu widget template, but we'll talk about this later, okay? I'm going to try to follow an order so of how I did everything. Okay, and we're going to have the default point class. If there is not anything selected, it's going to be the flyer airplane one. So it's going to be the purple airplane, the first one. Okay, so let's start. In the game instant flight simulator, we have this selected airplane name that we can change from the selector when we press play. Okay, on the widget, and we have the gameplay player controller. This gameplay player controller is going to have the references to create the widget for the pause menu and nothing more really. Okay, we create it and that's it. This gameplay player controller, it doesn't have anything because all the inputs and controls, I know it's not the most correct thing, but it's on the flyer base. Okay, because it was more comfortable to do it like this because I didn't have enough time. I only have 5 days. Okay, and at last we have to take into account that this player controller is connected to the game mode of the gameplay level, that is the flight simulator game mode base, okay, with the team map, airplane map, and the selected airplane map. Okay, so here on the init game, we're just going to have the selected airplane class, so we just know what airplane do we have instantiate, and now that we know it, okay, yep, and it's done. Okay, sorry, I just got with another thing. So it's important that once we know the selected airplane name, the next thing we're going to make is to change the default pawn class of the proper game mode. So now we have this selected airplane class as the default pawn class to use. Okay, that this default pawn class. So perfect. Once we have this, the next thing we can do is just to check these connections. As you can see, to the game mode gameplay, control to play controller, and at the same time, this is connected with the flight game instance to know what airplane we are selecting. So now we're going to play from the beginning, just so you can see. Okay, we go to levels, airplane selector. As you can see, you can choose whatever you want. Okay, perfect. As you can see, it goes. The connection with the airplane selector and Cesium gameplay to choose the character is done. Okay, so this part is finished. Hello? Okay, so let's start this video. Now we're going to talk about the Cesium gameplay, that is the gameplay level. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk is about the plugin Cesium. Okay, this plugin, to get it, you just have to go to the file, just right here, and try to get it. Okay, you add to the library, you download it, and you add it to the project. This project is with the version 5.3.2. Okay, I'm not sure if how your project will work, but I hope it works. Another important thing, once plugin is installed in your project, you are going to have to connect it with Cesium Ion. And this is the things that I have added to the level and that I just can have it. Okay, so it's really easy, but if I were you, once you authorize, I would go just here to help you, the Cesium for a real quick start. And if you can do this and make some YouTube videos, it will be amazing because it's a little difficult to follow at the beginning, but the result is amazing. And have to take into account that this is going to be free like 2 or 3 months once you have your account into Google Cloud. Okay, when you have your account in Google Cloud, you will have 2 or 3 months free with this, and it's the time that the game will be available. And when this finishes, I think that I am not going to be capable of getting the maps. So let's see what happens. Okay, so once we have this, the session Eon assets, we can have it just right here, and we can add everything I want. So let's check what do we have. At first, there are some by default things that the Cesium Camera Manager, when you add the dynamic pawn and the Cesium Sun Sky and the blank three tile set, it's recommended when that you start with these three. It's going to add as default the Cesium Camera Manager, the Cesium Creative System, and the Cesium Sun Sky. Okay, so you're going to see just this. Okay, and what I have chosen is the Google Photorealistic 3D tiles. Okay, with the Google. At first, I'm going to talk about the Cesium Sun Sky. You can choose the time zone, okay, the date and time, so you can choose to be in the dark or wherever you want, okay, at the time you want. Also, you can change the solar time. You can change a lot of things, here, as you can see. It's You can modify it, and it's so cool in the dark also. Okay, you can choose day, month, and year, and a lot of things here. Okay. Also, the Google Photorealistic 3D tiles. The Google Photorealistic 3D tiles, what gives you is the opportunity to have all the Google of all the world Google tiles here. But the thing about this is that you have to have the Cesium reference and some parameters. Okay, it's really important to have the level of detail depending of what your computer can have or support, because this maximum screen space error is 14. Once we play, you are going to see that the map, or at least the things you can see when you're close, it will be like, I don't know, 5 seconds, 4 or 5 seconds to load everything. Okay, so you have to play with the parameters, the level of detail, the tile loading, if you want to preload the ancestors or the siblings or not, the tile cooling, tile occlusion, maybe create some fog for you. I don't know, you just have to play with these parameters, and I hope this tutorial can help you, because for me it was difficult. Also, the enable water mask, that it's really cool. The physics, you have to create the physics mesh, so when the airplane, when you go, and you can crash with anything, and you just avoid disappearing or something weird with physics. And this is the Google Photorealistic 3D tiles. Also, this city is in Melbourne, okay? We are just right now in Melbourne. A thing that is amazing. The tiles are loading, don't worry. There's the sea. So we're in Australia because I have chosen that place. If you want, I have make a sub-level of Melbourne because it loads faster. If you want, you can make another thing. In Google Photorealistic Tiles, you can choose where you want to go. So, okay, I got it. On the Cesium reference, you also can change the origin placement, the origin latitude, and everything, the longitude. So you can choose from any city you want, Mexico, Madrid. In my case, it's Melbourne because of the big skyline or skyscraper, sorry. And you can choose whatever you want. So, for example, I'm going to change the latitude for you to see. If you change this, another value, we are right now on the sea. I don't know where are we. Like, we're just teleporting to any parts of the world. Like, this is amazing plugin. I will go Control Z. So you can go just wherever you want.